Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog I'm so excited about because my TBR for this video, I think we could seriously have some home runs here, and it includes one of my most anticipated releases of the year and also my online book club pick. So I'm so pumped to be reading it here. But without further ado, let's go ahead and chat about the books I hope to read over the course of this video. So I'm not gonna lie, my TBR for this video is a little bit ambitious, but I have faith that I'll be able to make a decent dent in everything. My primary book for this video is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kinfisher, one of my all-time favorite authors. This is her newest release, a Brothers Grimm retelling of The Goose Girl, and again, my book club pick. From there, I also want to go ahead and read The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. I'm craving like a magic school set book. Why not try to carry that into some momentum to finish a trilogy that I've really enjoyed so far? I read the first two books last fall and then in classic fashion did not complete it, but I feel ready and I'm really looking forward to see how this whole book and series is going to wrap up. Again, another great fall read if you haven't checked out The School of Mance. And lastly, I want to start The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is my IRL book club pick, so 2 book club books to read over the course of this vlog. I don't need to finish this during the course of this reading vlog, but I want to at least start it. I also got the audiobooks. I've heard really good things, so I'm excited to listen to that while I physically read these other 2 books. It's currently like 6:30 p.m. I'm actually gonna go watch a little bit of reality TV and wrap Clay's birthday presents because I'm a little behind on that. Heat up dinner, settle in and relax for the evening, and then obviously hopefully get a lot of really good reading in. But welcome to the start of this vlog. Again, 3 books that I feel like are gonna be home runs and also bring all of the vibes I could possibly want and need. Fingers crossed anyway. But anyway, let's get started. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, a wild show on Hulu. I also got Clay some Texas Longhorn wrapping paper. I thought it'd be funny. It's dinner time, and dinner is gonna be delicious and so easy because I got this big old vat of leftover turkey chili I made last night, and I'm just gonna top it with the toppings, which I'm already snacking on now. Some Fritos, some cheese. Time to heat up. Scrumptious. Time to go eat, Millie. Time to eat. Alrighty, it's officially time for me to start my book, and I could not be more excited. Good morning, everyone. It's time to have some coffee. I'm gonna do some more reading. The Goose Girl so far is so dark. I expected it to be dark, but it is very dark. But I'm gonna read more this morning. It's a little gloomy outside, which is such a vibe. So I'm gonna lean into that and enjoy. Hello, good morning. Let's do a reading update of A Sorceress Comes to Call. I have read 85 pages of this book. Let's take a minute to admire the dust jacket-less hardcover because it's beautiful, and I'm really liking this book. It's a lot darker tonally than I was maybe anticipating, and some aspects of the plot have taken me by surprise in terms of my expectations, but honestly, I'm really liking all of those things quite a bit. But to take a step back, let's chat about what this book is about. And to be fully transparent, I definitely want to give a trigger warning for abuse, particularly parental abuse, as that is a very center stage element of this book. In this story, we're introduced to our main character, Cordelia, and right away we are also introduced to the terrible dynamic that Cordelia has to experience from her mom. Cordelia is shy. She's incredibly sweet. She's a 14-year-old girl, and her mother, quite frankly, is evil. She's a sorceress, she's a manipulator, and she has abused and manipulated and controlled Cordelia her entire life, emotionally, physically, all of these things. And she even uses her magic to physically control Cordelia in specific moments of her life, resulting in our main character being fearful of her mother, and also due to her isolation, not really sure how to interact with other people, function in the world, feels like she's very strange, but is not really equipped or empowered to stick up for herself, find aspects of herself to celebrate, like all of these things. At the beginning of this book, Cordelia and her mother are living in this small town, but her mother sees an opportunity to marry rich at this faraway estate and basically convince this older gentleman to fall in love with her, and she brings Cordelia there to like help her with her scheme. Cordelia now is thrust into an entirely new world, socially speaking, but is now surrounded by a lot more people than she's ever had before. Previously, her mother kept her very much in isolation, but now she's surrounded by all different types of people, which is actually heartwarming to see. Cordelia as a main character is a character you immediately feel for, you empathize for, you love, and deeply want to protect. And then we also begin to follow characters around Cordelia, for example, Hester, who is the older spinster sister of the man that Cordelia's mother is trying to marry. And she's scheming because she immediately clocks Cordelia's mom as like evil. And she's trying to do what she can within her power to not only protect her brother, but now protect this young girl who has come into her house. And you meet other characters like Alice, who is the maid assigned to work with Cordelia. And you also begin to see Cordelia come out of her shell in the way that begin to unpack the normal that she was forced to have on behalf of her mother is in fact not quite normal at all. Again, tonally speaking, this book is quite dark and very much centers abuse. So that is something I want to call out. It's clearly drawing inspiration from the Brother Grimm's fairy tale, The Goose Girl. And it's also not shying away from that grim inspiration, this sort of evil sorceress mother figure, and our main character kind of trying to survive within that. I'm really enjoying the writing style. I find kind of shifting through different perspectives to be rather captivating, and there's just this feeling of dread and intensity because immediately as a reader, we hate Evangeline, who is the mother. We hate her so much, and we're so fearful for our main character Cordelia, and we're just curious. I'm curious on the edge of my seat to see how this whole thing is going to unfold, and I'm rooting for all of the players, but I also know Evangeline is clearly going to be like a formidable villain. So it'll be curious to see how the whole thing plays out. Cordelia as our main character, I have a feeling her character arc and journey is going to like hit me right in the heartstrings. Like she's just like, she's precious, you know, and just like the torment and the things that she's been subjected to and taught to be normal is just so heartbreaking. And I feel like T. Ken Fisher is doing and creating this story and this character with a lot of care and empathy too. All that to say is though, I'm really liking this book, but I do want to flag that this is definitely pretty dark, totally in terms of the subject matter that it's centering. And I am very into it in the way that I'm reading it quickly, but I'm also like, like my heart, like how much of this can I take? You know what I mean? But so far so good. I love T. Ken Fisher's writing so much. It's just like, she's so good at characterization. Reading update, we're making progress. I need to go get dressed. I'm behind on my day because I got distracted. I won't lie, I definitely got a bit distracted this morning, got wrapped up into the news cycle. I watched the presidential debate last night if you live in America. You maybe have watched it yourself. And you know what, actually, let's take another moment. I know I did this in a previous video. If you haven't checked your registration status to vote, I'm gonna leave that link down below. Please do so. Even if you think everything is buttoned up, perfect, you have your plan, it's always good to double check if your address changes or if you move counties. Like all of these things, depending on where you live, might impact your registration status, as every state has their own rules, policies, and if you don't have a voting plan already, get that squared away. I personally love to vote early. Early voting tends to be less busy, and as we know, there's been a lot of anti-voter legislation that has been passed over the years. Just double, triple checking your registration and getting your voting plan all set to go. The sooner the better. It's great. So I will also have that link down below. So reading update, voter registration update. Anyway, I gotta go now, for real. For real, for real, for real. Lunch is served. I can't wait to eat. I'm starving. It's like 2 p.m. I hate when I lose track of time and I eat lunch too late. But it's happening now. I made a sneaky cup of breakfast tea. Better than coffee, I think, from a caffeine point of view. But I'm gonna sit there, do a little bit of reading, because I truly cannot wait, enjoy my cup of tea, and try to be productive for once today. Dinner is incoming. We have some sauteed vegetables, and I also have some potatoes in the air fryer. Clay is outside grilling some chicken and some corn. Should be truly scrumptious. I love summer grilling. And in Texas, it's more like fall is the best time to grill because it's finally not so hot outside. Like 80 versus 100, and it's so much more pleasant. Grilled chicken, grilled corn, potatoes. I also made this Greek yogurt feta sauce. And some sauteed vegetables. Yum, yum, yum. And bon appetit, everyone. And I have my little sauce. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Today's actually Clay's birthday, so we opened the presents I wrapped earlier in this vlog, and I really like them. So 10 out of 10 success. But since I have been doing a little bit of reading of A Sorceress Comes to Call, and I'm a little past the 50% mark of this book, and I'm really liking it. It has all the trappings of what I love about T. Kim Fisher's writing from a writing style point of view, and in particular, her balance between dark and light. Something that has been a bit of a surprise that I'm liking is that this book is actually more of an ensemble. Cordelia is the main character, but also so is Hester, and their dynamic is one that is really interesting. This book opens quite dark, quite anxiety-ridden, and a lot of the inputs are quite distressing. And there's also like dark stuff happening within the plot, but at the same time though, in true T. Kim Fisher fashion, she still leaves moments for humor, camaraderie, and you really see that as Cordelia begins to become more entrenched in this household that her mother has moved her in. She's making friends or allies with characters like Alice, and especially our main character Hester. And Hester, who is this older widow character who's really smart, obviously in a vulnerable position because if her brother gets married, then she can get kicked out of the household. But more so than anything, she doesn't want to see her brother get married to an evil woman. So she's scheming alongside Cordelia and her friends she invites into the home to try to figure out what they can do to protect her brother from this woman. There's this sort of planning element and like trying to thwart this like evil power, if you will. And alongside that too, there's a lot of humor and friendship, and just in general, I appreciate just the inclusion of older female characters in this sort of like vaguely historical Regency-esque time period. It's cool to see seemingly two characters that in a lot of ways don't have a lot of power. Cordelia, you know, in the household that she grew up in, was not afforded any opportunities to stand up for herself, these types of things. But even outside of just how her mother treats her, as a young woman in society, she has a very limited amount of power in terms of she can be ruined so easily. She's reliant upon elders to, you know, move her from point A to point B, but also provide for her and also set her up a good marriage. Similarly, Hester, in theory, has a very limited amount of power. She is an unmarried woman, reliant upon her brother's generosity. Obviously, her brother is really kind, so she's lucky there. But she has weighed the pros and cons of staying unmarried and married her entire life as it relates to her freedom and her ability to move throughout the world. But you still see these two characters sort of claim aspects of their power for themselves. Obviously, Hester is well versed in this, and she's such a likable character because she's so capable and smart and funny, and I love her friends. But there's also a bit of a story arc with Cordelia, who is so shy and frightful, understandably, like begin to gain a bit more confidence in herself, even in like small ways, like telling a joke amongst a group of people and like finding her voice and her personality. It's just been a really sweet thing to see. But yeah, I just feel like this book balances that dark and light so well. Obviously, Evangeline, Cordelia's mother, terrible. A lot of the emotional trauma that Cordelia has had to deal with and we see play out on this book, awful. But also that paired alongside some really likable characters and like arcs of seeing our characters grow and seize things for themselves is also quite nice, paired with a great writing style. This book is a very breezy, I would say this book has been a rather quick read. I pick it up, it's hard to put down. The chapters are also really short, so I just feel like I'm moving through it. And because we're reading through a few different perspectives, I feel like it keeps the story quite fresh and we're kind of absorbing it from multiple angles. But yeah, we already know. I love Tea Kingfisher. I feel like I'm definitely gonna track to finish this book today, and then I'll move on to my second book of this vlog. But I just wanted to do a little bit of a reading update. Exciting birthday development for Clay. It's your birthday. We have an ice cream cake from Amy's Ice Cream, an Austin classic. So obviously we're gonna have a little midday treat, if you will. I'll give you guys an aerial view. Isn't she just stunning? Mexican vanilla and chocolate cake. Hot fudge. Should be scrumptious. Scrumptious. And I'm gonna go finish my book, I think. I'm not gonna deny that ice cream cake, midday, scrumptious. I'm also now gonna make myself a cup of tea, breakfast tea. We're going a little stronger. Actually, no. We'll do, I already have this out too. Earl Grey. Caffeine, but a little less caffeine. So I'm going to start that now, and then I'm gonna sit down and finish A Sorceress Comes to Call. I read another 50 pages. I'm about 210 pages of 320, so I really feel like I can sit down and finish it because the book is reading really, really quick. Again, I'm just like really wanting to know like how this whole conspiracy and plan is going to play out to not only protect Cordelia and Squire, which is Hester's brother, from this woman, but also like things are getting more and more dangerous just for everyone involved, and just like the scope and range of this woman's power, scary. But also though, this book still has a cozy lean. Like it's so hard to explain because so much of this book is very, very dark, but it's just something Tea Kingfisher does so well, is like walk this line where she has really intense subjects, really complex and nuanced characters and character arcs that you follow, but there's still this feeling of camaraderie, family, found family, and heart that kind of balances the sort of darkness that she includes within her stories. You see this in Devil and Bone, you see this in Thornhedge, you see this House of Good Bones. Like it's just something she does often and does so well, which is why I think I love her books so much, because it's like I feel like they make me feel so much and yet I still feel safe while reading them. It's the balance, you know what I mean? But I think mug-wise, yes, my ghost mug is clean, so I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna sit down, have some tea once my kettle finishes boiling, and we're gonna finish that book, and then I'm gonna start my second book for this vlog. I also wanna start Guard of the Woods. Like I need to pick up the pace, It's time for my daily chore, which is, as you can see, Matilda loves to lay in the sun, but the sun moves along this window throughout the day, so it's time for me to push the good girl to her next location. As you can see, she is very unbothered, but now fully in the sun. Well, actually, she's a little more. Her face isn't in the sun. There you go. Now, as you can see, she's fully in the sun where she belongs. Hi. I finished A Sorceress Comes to Call, and I will do a reading update, but I want to carry this reading momentum forward and sit down and just go ahead and start the Golden Enclaves. So we're gonna do an additional reading sprint for book 2 for this vlog because I'm trying to get my page count up. It's the 12th of the month. I've read 3 books that ain't bad, but I can do better. So we're gonna start this. And I'm so excited about this book, and it's kind of long. It's like 400 pages, but I feel like I can get a good way through it. And then also start God of the Woods. Chop chop, we're getting to it, Reagan. We're getting to it. All right, I read 40 pages of my book, but then I had to get ready because we're going out to dinner for Clay's birthday, obviously. I thought I would do an OOTD. Here's my outfit. It's this plaid skirt. I'm wearing little cowboy boots. Just a white tank because it is hot. Oh, here's Clay, birthday boy. We're decapitated, so you can show your outfit like this. Green shirt, jeans, and Clay's new boots that he got for his birthday. Big sleigh. Anyone was wondering what Matilda sometimes does at night? She gets all wrapped up in vibes. Dinner was so scrumptious. Clay and I watched a lot of football per his request, but now I'm going to do a little bit of reading of the Golden Enclaves. I read 40 pages before I stopped doing my reading sprint earlier, so I'm just gonna see how far I can get. I'm so sleepy, so I feel like not far, like maybe 7 pages, but you know, fingers crossed.
Good morning, Matilda. Does everyone want to see our morning routine? This is the part where Matilda sprints. And I have to make sure she actually goes to the bathroom and doesn't just pretend. Oh, all right. And then we go on the hunt around the house for her bowl. Where did you put it, Matilda? Where is it? I feel like it might be over here. Is it over here? Is it over here?
And while Matilda feasts, I make coffee. So this is my feast. Oh, sorry. My faucet was in the way the whole time. Let me recreate. Boop. Coffee. Cheers everyone, good morning. I have just been reading. I have read 90 pages of The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the 3rd book to the School of Mance series. I'm immediately reminded why I love this series so much. I read The School of Mance and the sequel back to back last year. I fell in love with the writing style, the concept, the darkness, but there's also a lot of heart in this story, a lot of emotional complexity too. And I put off reading the 3rd book because I hate finishing series, because I love the idea that I always have like a book left in a series I love to read. This year I'm trying to catch up on some of those series, which I've actually done a pretty decent job on. Anyway, I've started The Golden Enclaves and it's so good. Like, I am so immediately invested in everything, and the author I was really curious to see where she was going to take this 3rd book based off of the ending of book 2, which was incredibly explosive, but we know based on those events, like, there's going to be some new aspects to the environment and the plot that we're going to explore, and I wasn't really sure where things were going to go. But so far, I have been so pleasantly surprised with the intensity and just the inventiveness of where the story has taken us, and it just continues to have all of the strengths of the series. From the writing style, the world building and concept of this fantasy world is so good, and Elle as our main character is so likable and so interesting. There's humor and anger and love and sadness, like all of these emotions that are just present in stark relief. To take a step back though, to tell you what the School of Mance is about, basically we're following our main character Elle, and Elle at the beginning of book 1 is in a place called the School of Mance. In this fantasy world, magic users exist, but it's incredibly dangerous to be a magic user because the use of magic attracts super dangerous monsters. And in fact, the most dangerous time for a magician is when they're a child, because they don't have control over their magic to protect themselves, so they can be attacked by monsters much more easily. As a way to sort of create a safer environment for young magic users to learn how to use their power, a place called the School of Mance was created, which is like this magic school that exists in this alternate realm. So there's no teachers, there's no adults there, but there's just a bunch of kids there going to class. And the thing is, this place is technically safer than the wide world, but it's still incredibly dangerous. Like, monsters roam the halls. It's like the survival rate through graduation is like not great. So it's obviously creating an incredibly toxic and horrifying environment where young people are trying to survive, but given the lack of resources and the known reality that not everyone survives, like, alliances are made. There's a huge discussion in this series about privilege and access and all of these things. And in this environment, we find our main character, Elle. And Elle is a loner. She's not interested in bowing down and trying to, you know, kiss the butts of these powerful kids who come from powerful families who have these like really tight-knit alliances. She also knows that she needs to do certain things to be able to survive, but it makes her day-to-day much harder because she doesn't have any friends to rely on to like go to the bathroom or like go to class without being attacked. The other thing about Elle is, and the thing that she's kept secret, is that she's actually an incredibly powerful magician, but her magic wants her to be evil. So for Elle, it's super easy to cast a city-destroying spell, but a simple spell to like clean her room like doesn't work for her. All throughout this series though, you see Elle sort of take on unexpected situations, kind of begrudgingly make friends, take on the power of the Schoolomance, like unlock the secrets of the magic, this place, and just the overall growth of the plot and story is so good. It's a lot about kids like taking on and ending a cycle of abuse and trauma. There's a lot of like emotional exploration and nuance as it relates to the impact of being in a school and an environment that is so dangerous and traumatic. There's such interesting character dynamics, such great friendships to root for, romance. I love this series. I love the writing style. It's funny. I love Elle. It's just been one of the most engaging series I've read in a while. Book 3, as I said, I wasn't sure like what to expect based on some situations at the end of book 2, but I'm immediately obsessed. I'm immediately falling back into the story. I'm immediately hooked. I want to know what's going to happen next. Like, it's so good, and it's so fall core vibes too. Like, I just love Elle and also her ability to like stand up for herself and what she believes is right, and it's just like so impressive. She's just such a great character. And I also love how she's constantly taken by surprise because she hates everyone. Like, her natural reaction to everything is that she's suspicious and hates everyone based off of things that have occurred to her in the past. So when someone sort of gets past her defenses and like surprises her, it's also just like so delightful and will melt your heart. Anyway, I'm rambling. I love this series. I've read 90 pages of the Golden Enclaves. I'm definitely, hopefully, going to be reading more today. I can't wait. So to do that, I gotta be productive. So we're gonna go be productive now. Some breakfast tacos, and I'm gonna go in there with Clay to watch some college football. Maybe the best Saturday ever. The makings of a vanilla latte. There you're playing with your tennis ball. But let's just add the milk, and I'm gonna do some more reading. Hello. We went to the Texas football game, cut away to a shot of the game. So much fun, but I can confirm I'm tuckered out. It was quite warm this evening, but back home in my comfies, and we're gonna read more of the Golden Enclaves. I have read a good chunk of this. I'm on page 130, and I'm just like so gripped, so engaged by this. And I feel like anytime the author spends any time with the magic world building, I'm on the edge of my seat. It's just so interesting how she's gone about constructing the fantasy aspect of this world, and I love learning about it. It works well, given that a lot of the book has a school setting, so there's a lot of learning about magic anyway. But anyway, I'm gonna read now and fall asleep so soon. Hello everyone, good morning. I am about to have my favorite laziest Sunday. I am gonna do all of my favorite cozy things today. We're gonna make chocolate chip pancakes. We're gonna watch football. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna play Luigi's Haunted Mansion on the couch for hours on end. And I've been up and at 'em, and I've been doing one of the things I was wanting to do today, and that is read. And I've read 50% now of The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik, and I'm liking this book. I can see and understand why some people didn't love this book as much, but I'm personally still really enjoying it. I think some of the plot pacing is much slower going into this third book, but I feel like it's quite smart and also emotionally impactful, because a lot of this book is quite emotionally charged, and I think allowing our main character to process and also live within the feelings that she has, which are very deep, very intense feelings, makes sense. And I think kind of seeing how those feelings are informing her decisions impulsively, or even how she feels like she's frozen, I think is a really representation of how maybe one can feel in this experience. Really paced the plot in a very specific way, and it's created this intensity both emotionally and within the plot itself that I think has been very, very effective. Two, something I've been really loving is we've got so much Enclave world building. Obviously, every book we've learned more and more and more about this world, how it works, how the politics work, how the magic works, and she's just continued to build on that with giving us more information about these enclave, the privilege, power, moral gymnastics that are made by people who are in powerful positions, no matter where you are, is not just like center stage in this book and in the enclaves itself, also very much one of the core like thematic pillars of this story, and how Elle, this outsider, is sort of a disruptor, and how she is sort of functioning outside of the societal expectations of not only herself, but also like everyone looked at Elle as this sort of evil being. And she's always viewed herself as a sort of amoral person, but in reality, she has stuck by her own feelings of what is right. And if anything, she's just cool and so moral and so unable to be influenced by others, which I think is such a amazing aspect to her character and speaks so strongly of who she is. And she looks at herself so negatively, but she's so likable. And I just think she's such a compelling center of this world and story, and she continues to be so within this book. 50% of the way through, plot-wise, things are really starting to heat up. We're moving into that like final sequence, and I've just been on the edge of my seat, really enjoying this. I love Naomi Novik's writing style so much, and this world and concept is just like so interesting. I'm having such a good time, and I'm definitely gonna be reading more of this today. My hope is to finish it, and if I finish it, I'll read almost 800 pages for this vlog. Not bad. I have failed so far in starting my book club book, but as we know, I tend to read those with like 3 days left before the meeting anyway, so what's a girl to do? It's Sunday morning, we're making pancakes. I bought this Kirby Lane mix from Costco. If you're from Austin, you know. And I thought it'd be extra fun to make them chocolate chip. I have some bacon in the oven, so I'm just gonna mix this up. It's still basically instant mix. 2-cup mix. So 4 tablespoons. I wish I could crack eggs one-handed, but alas, I'm not that cool. It also said to use water, but I'm a milk in my pancake person. It's time for the oh so important tester pancake before I move on. Chocolate chips. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ah! I think I need to respray. Scrumptious. Also made some bacon. I think we're gonna go watch some football. Watching Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Clay socks there. Ignore those. So I do enjoy football, but also there's just something about fall and Sunday football. Like even if I'm not paying attention, just having football on in the background, it's the perfect ambiance. Does anyone else do that? It's almost like having jazz playing, you know? And I think I'm actually gonna start a new puzzle. We're making homemade pizzas tonight. I've sliced up some toppings. I have some fresh mozz, some red onion, and some olive. I have some prosciutto, which I used last week for some lunches that I'm gonna finish. I also have some pepperoni, ricotta, and I bought some store-bought homemade dough. So it's like homemade, but not by me, which I've just been letting kind of rise again on the counter. Things are about to get serious. I even bought hot honey for the occasion. This is gonna be so fun. Pizza number 1, Halloween parade puzzle. Pause, let me show you guys. Look how cute this is.
It's a 500 piecer, so I feel like I'll be able to make good progress quickly. I'm just watching some Sunday Night Football.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I'm so happy to report I have finished at least 2 books for this vlog, both the Golden Enclaves and A Sorceress Comes to Call. I did not start my 3rd book, but completing 2 out of 3 books I'm gonna take as a win. I'm also realizing I never finished up my final thoughts and feelings of A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kinfisher, and generally speaking, overall, I really enjoyed this book. T. Kinfisher, as I've said a couple times, just has such a way with having light and dark elements, lots of emotional stakes, plot that will keep you kind of on the edge of your seat, having to deal with like true evil things while also having a cast of characters you will root for. I particularly loved the found family element of this, kind of like second chance family in some regards, and just sort of characters carving out safety and space for themselves in a world that's not really set up to give them that. I also really appreciated this sort of reinterpretation of this classic fairy tale of the Goose Girl, that classic mother enchantress sort of figure. Overall, I just found it very entertaining, and I was really curious to see how the whole thing was going to wrap up through the entire sequence of the novel. I really liked it. From there, I also read the entirety of the Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik, meaning I have finished the 3rd and final book within the School of Mance series. I have found this series to just be so unbelievably rewarding and entertaining through and through. I would say overall the 3rd book is probably my 2nd to 3rd favorite in the series, the 2nd book being my favorite. But all that to say is I really liked every single installment. I love the themes and topics that the author really pushes center stage in this. The conversations around power and choice and just like young people sort of taking on the mantle of change, overthrowing systems and structures that have been in place for a long time. They're not serving anyone and are especially not serving them. I think it's just really inspiring. The world building and magic system too in this world is just so interesting. It also has great humor, really interesting character dynamics, particularly the romantic character dynamics in this 3rd book definitely took us to some unexpected places, I'll say. For the most part, I found this final installment to be very satisfying in terms of wrapping the whole series up. It was really cool to see some stuff that we've only ever heard about, but seeing it take place in person. Elle, per usual, roots this story so well. I wish there was maybe a few other things within this final installment, but overall, I was like quite pleased with this, and just Naomi Novik's writing, another favorite author of mine, just really is something that I quite enjoy. And I'm now just realizing I basically just read 2 books by 2 of my all-time favorite authors. So, you know, not a bad book selection if you ask me. I read about 800 or almost 800 pages over the course of this vlog, which I'm pretty pleased with. And in general, read 2 books I really enjoyed. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.